she does use the hand and a touch to Prince Harry's arm to, you could say, direct him. I would be a little bit more forthright, P. Dinah, and say to control him. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's neighbours in Montecito have had enough being snubbed by the A-listers in the area, claiming no one wants to be seen with them.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's neighbors in Montecito are seriously over it now, done being brushed off, ignored, and treated like they don't matter at all. The people living closest to the Sussexes aren't staying quiet anymore either, and the vibe around them has turned ice cold. Now, locals are straight up distancing themselves from the couple, and it's not even subtle anymore. A source who spoke to Page 6 said the mood in the neighborhood is crystal clear. No one wants to be seen with them.
Meghan and Harry's neighbours are distancing themselves from them, with locals saying they are over it. That's according to a source who told Page 6 that no one wants to be seen with them. This frosty reception has reportedly been years in the making. The source added, "It's not hate, it's just a growing awareness that they're takers with zero self-awareness and everyone's exhausted by them."
That's not some small rumor, that's how people really feel right now. And this didn't just pop up overnight either. This tension has been building for years, slowly stacking up from moments people noticed but didn't call out at first. Neighbors kept it polite, stayed quiet, and just watched how things played out. Until now. One source broke it down in a way that hits hard and leaves no confusion. It's not about hate at all. It's more like people are finally waking up and realizing what's going on. They described Harry and Meghan as takers with zero self-awareness, and at this point, people around them are just drained and completely fed up.
Nobody wants to deal with them because, they know that aligning yourself with Harry and Meghan is just going to bring, not good things to come your way because they're so not liked. They don't have a good reputation. And it's the best thing you can do for yourself is to not be seen with them. And that should be, I think, a wake-up call for Harry and Meghan to change your ways.
The Sussex PR machine wasted no time pushing back on this story, just like they always do whenever something like this comes up. But honestly, that reaction says a lot by itself. You don't rush to shut something down unless it's actually getting attention. The fact their team felt the need to respond at all, that already tells people this story is hitting somewhere real, and it's making noise. What makes this even more intense is where all of this is happening. Montecito isn't some messy tabloid space or a group of critics with an agenda. This is their own town, their own environment, the place they picked to build their new life. Harry and Meghan chose this community on purpose, thinking it would be a fresh start. These are the same neighbors they see regularly, people who were willing to be open-minded and give them a fair shot from the beginning. But over time, and through real, direct experiences, that attitude started to shift, and not in a good way. There's one story that really sums all of this up, and it hits hard. One of their neighbors actually tried, in good faith, to welcome them into the area like a normal person would. He wasn't looking for anything, he just wanted to share some background about Montecito, the community, and the place they had chosen to call home. But instead of a warm response, he was shut down and told to go away. Just like that. No conversation, no interest, nothing. This wasn't someone chasing clout or trying to get attention either, this was just a regular neighbor being friendly, and he got completely brushed off. And that moment stuck with people around them, because this wasn't about status or connections. This man had nothing to offer in terms of power, influence, or publicity, and that's exactly the point. The way they treated him became the real story people remember, not the polished charity headlines, not the glossy documentary scenes, and not those carefully staged public appearances. That's what people around them are really judging now, because being charming in front of big names is easy. Anyone can turn it on for Oprah, or be polite with a Hollywood agent, or impress someone who controls a platform they want access to. But the real test of character hits differently. It shows up in those quiet, everyday moments, how you treat someone who can't give you anything in return. And for many in that community, that's where the real impression was made, and it wasn't a good one. By that measure, the verdict in Montecito feels loud and clear. Now, the word going around is simple. Aligning yourself with Harry and Meghan doesn't bring anything positive your way. People aren't eager to be linked to them, and their reputation is already doing the talking before they even walk into a room. So what are people doing? Keeping their distance. Socially, professionally, quietly stepping back and choosing not to get involved at all. That's become the safest move, and everyone seems to understand it without needing to say much. For most people, this kind of situation would hit like a serious wake-up call. When you notice people pulling away, when the energy shifts and nobody wants to be around you, the natural reaction is to stop and think, is it me? Is there something in how I act, how I treat people, how I move through life that needs to change? But here's where it gets uncomfortable. There's no real sign that kind of reflection is happening. No pause, no adjustment, nothing that shows awareness of how things are being received, and that silence speaks just as loudly. And the irony in all of this, it's hard to ignore. This is a couple who built their entire image around being real, around breaking away from what they called a fake and restrictive system. They said they wanted authenticity, freedom, and genuine human connection. Meghan even said they wanted to live their truth. That was the message, the brand, the whole identity they pushed out to the world. But here's the twist that people in Montecito are noticing. The ones who actually see them up close, without cameras, without PR teams, without any staging, those are the people forming the strongest opinions. And what they're seeing, day to day, isn't matching that image at all. What people are starting to see is something very different. It comes off like entitlement being dressed up as authenticity, like acting connected without actually putting in the real effort that connection takes. Because you can't build a whole image around community while staying distant from your own neighbors. You can't say you care about people, then turn away someone who's simply trying to welcome you in. That contradiction stands out, and people notice it more than anything else. And it goes even deeper than that. You can't claim you're humanizing an institution like the monarchy, then act in private in ways that even the most distant royals didn't fully reach. That gap between what's shown and what's real, that's what drains people the most. It's not just the image, and it's not just the reality, it's the constant clash between the two that wears people out. Trying to make sense of both at the same time takes effort, and honestly, people in Montecito are done putting in that effort. They've stopped trying to explain it away. They're going off what they've actually seen, what they've personally experienced, and they've made up their minds. Now things start getting even more intense when you look inside the relationship itself, because that part is getting harder to ignore. People are watching more closely, and naturally, they're starting to form opinions. Last week, Meghan Markle's lawyers reached out to Variety to push back on claims about how she interacts with Harry in public. Specifically, reports suggested she uses physical touch to guide or direct him. Her legal team strongly rejected that, calling the claim misogynistic and labeling it a sexist narrative. They denied it, straight up. But here's where things get tricky. The behavior people are talking about has been caught on camera over and over again for years. This isn't some hidden moment or private claim. It's footage that anyone can go back and watch. From their earliest public appearances, even going back to the engagement interview, Meghan has often been seen using physical touch to guide Harry, moving him slightly, repositioning him, or signaling what to do next. It's subtle at times, but it keeps showing up again and again in different moments. And it's not just a few critics pointing this out. Body language analysts, royal watchers, and regular viewers have all noticed the same pattern when watching those clips. This isn't some random or extreme take, it's what a lot of people say they see with their own eyes. That's why the denial didn't land the way it was supposed to. Because telling people they didn't see something that's clearly in recorded footage just doesn't convince them. Once something is documented and replayed across platforms, it becomes hard to dismiss. And here's the part that really flips the situation. The legal pushback may have actually made things bigger instead of shutting them down. Before that letter was sent to Variety, this was mostly a niche conversation happening among royal commentators and body language observers. But after the denial, it exploded into a wider story. More people started paying attention, more clips started circulating, and suddenly everyone was going back to watch the footage for themselves. In trying to shut it down, the response ended up giving it even more attention. The stronger the denial came across, the more curious people got, and that curiosity brought a whole new wave of eyes to the exact clips being discussed. This kind of response has started to look like a pattern with the Sussex communications team. Every time a story comes out, the reaction meant to shut it down somehow makes it even louder. Statements raise more questions, legal moves spark fresh headlines, and instead of ending the conversation, it stretches it out even further. And that's what confuses people the most. For a team that reportedly spends huge amounts on PR, the strategy doesn't seem to land the way it's supposed to. If anything, it keeps pulling more attention right back onto the same issues they're trying to move past. But here's where things take a more interesting turn. The real question isn't just whether these moments happened, it's whether Harry is aware of them. Does he notice the dynamic people keep pointing out? Has he started to recognize something in how things play out between them? Because during the recent Middle East tour, something felt different. Observers noticed moments where Harry appeared to pull away from Meghan's touch instead of going along with it like before. There were instances where he seemed uncomfortable adjusting his clothes, shifting his body, even turning slightly away when she reached toward him. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but it was noticeable enough that people picked up on it. And this wasn't just one isolated moment either. It showed up multiple times throughout that trip, which made people pay closer attention. For years, Harry has seemed to adapt himself around Meghan, adjusting, repositioning, going along with what was needed in each situation. He made major life changes, stepping away from his country, his family, longtime friendships, and even the structured path he had through the military and royal life. That history is what makes these recent moments stand out even more. He made all of those sacrifices, and for a while, the excitement of this new life helped carry the weight of it all. Everything felt fresh, different, almost like a reset. But that phase didn't last forever, and by most reports, that early honeymoon period is long gone now. What's being said consistently paints a much heavier picture. The claim is that Harry feels deeply unhappy, like something isn't right in his day-to-day life. And it's not just a passing feeling, it's described as something that follows him constantly, something he's living with every single day. He gave the Hollywood lifestyle a real shot too. This wasn't half-hearted, he stepped into it, tried to adapt, tried to make it work, but according to what's being reported, it just doesn't fit who he is. It's not giving him the sense of direction or fulfillment he's been looking for. And now, it seems like what he really wants is something very different. There's this pullback toward a life that feels more familiar, something tied to purpose, structure, and belonging. Because even with all the sunshine and status that comes with California, it hasn't filled that gap for him. To really understand this, you have to look at the bigger picture. Harry isn't just dealing with one issue. His entire life used to be built around very specific roles and experiences. Military service, public duty, a defined path from the moment he was born, all of that shaped who he is. And now, almost all of it is gone at the same time. The army is no longer part of his life. The royal role is behind him. Family connections have become distant, and many of the friendships that once grounded him didn't carry over into this new chapter. So what's left? The home, his children, and a marriage that, based on what's being said, may not be bringing him the happiness he expected. And that combination is what's making the situation feel so heavy right now. There's a very specific kind of unhappiness that hits different. It's the kind that comes from making a huge, irreversible decision and slowly realizing it may have been the wrong one. It's that feeling of cutting ties with everything behind you, only to end up somewhere that doesn't truly feel like home. And Harry's situation seems to carry pieces of that. The real question now is what he does next. Does he act on that realization? Does he try to adjust and live with it? Or does he just keep pushing through day by day? That part of the story is still wide open, and people are watching closely. Those small moments during the Middle East trip might actually matter more than they seem. Because when someone has been holding things in for a long time, the shift doesn't start with something loud or dramatic. It starts quietly. A hand not taken, a slight turn away, a brief moment of distance that most people in the room might completely miss. But the ones paying close attention, they caught it immediately, and they're connecting the dots. And now, the focus starts to expand beyond just one story. Because there's another royal marriage that's raising eyebrows and showing signs of pressure too, and in some ways, it reflects similar tensions playing out elsewhere. Princess Beatrice is now facing what many are describing as one of the toughest periods any royal has dealt with in recent years, and the situation is starting to draw serious attention. Her father, Prince Andrew, has been stuck at the center of a major scandal tied to Jeffrey Epstein, and it just keeps unfolding. New details continue to surface, and the public and media are not letting it go anytime soon. If anything, the pressure is only getting stronger. The Epstein story hasn't slowed down at all. Headlines keep coming, questions keep building, and right in the middle of all that, Princess Beatrice has been trying to hold everything together at once: her own stability, her family situation, and her marriage. But now, attention is shifting toward her relationship with Edoardo, Mapelli, Mozzi. And the updates aren't exactly positive. Reports from multiple sources are starting to line up, and they're painting a picture that feels tense and uncertain. Charlotte Griffiths, editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, spoke with several people close to the couple, and the message she got was clear. Things have not been great between Beatrice and Edo. That's not a vague hint, it's a direct reflection of what people around them are saying. For a long time, Beatrice has reportedly tried to push through and keep things steady. She's known for wanting to see the best in people, even when situations get complicated. That mindset can be a strength, but it can also mean overlooking problems if she believes it will protect the relationship. And some are pointing out that this isn't the first time that pattern has shown up. She stood by her father for years, believing in him despite the growing controversy. And when the full weight of it became clear, it hit hard. Now, people are starting to wonder if something similar is happening again. Because during one of the most intense periods of the Epstein fallout, when headlines were everywhere and pressure on the family was at its peak, Edo reportedly spent extended time in Florida for business. And that timing raised eyebrows for a lot of observers. While he was in Florida, he was actively posting on social media too, sharing photos of his life there, showing where he was, what he was doing, and noticeably, none of it included Princess Beatrice. And that's what made people pause. Because the images didn't exactly give the impression of someone eager to rush back home during a serious family situation. There was no sudden return, no visible urgency. He stayed, kept posting, and remained fully present in Florida while things were unfolding back in the UK. Sources close to the couple are all pointing in a similar direction. The claim is that Edo has been pulling away, becoming more distant, more focused on his own work, and less present both physically and emotionally. One source even said he's all about himself at the moment, which says a lot. Another pointed out how his social media activity has noticeably increased: more posts about business, more travel updates, more visibility than before. And that shift hasn't gone unnoticed. Some observers feel like those posts are sending a message without saying it directly, showing exactly where he is, and indirectly highlighting where he isn't. There's also talk that concerns have come from within his own circle. Reports suggest his family is worried about how the ongoing Andrew situation could impact his business reputation. His company, Banda, has been gaining traction, building strong connections with investors, especially within high-profile circles like the Cotswolds. That kind of momentum matters, and being tied, even indirectly, to ongoing controversy can complicate things. And that's where the tension really builds. Because while this situation may not have been something he expected, it's now part of the reality surrounding him, and people are watching closely to see how he handles it. Here's the reality people keep coming back to. When Edo married Beatrice, none of this came out of nowhere. The complications around the royal family were already visible, and Prince Andrew's controversies were already part of the public conversation. This wasn't a situation where he stepped in without knowing what he was getting into. He made a choice, weighing the pros and cons, deciding whether the advantages of that royal connection were worth the risks that came with it. And for a while, it clearly worked in his favor. The access, the introductions, the doors that opened just by being connected to Princess Beatrice, all of that was real, and it benefited him in a big way. But now, things seem to be shifting. The balance doesn't look the same anymore. Those same connections don't carry the same weight, and the downsides are becoming harder to ignore. And from what's being reported, Edo's reaction has been to step back, not just physically, but emotionally too. The relationship that once added value to his life is now being described as something that may be creating more pressure than benefit. Meanwhile, Beatrice appears to be holding on, trying to keep everything steady. She's known for giving people the benefit of the doubt, sometimes even when the situation doesn't fully support it. It's the same mindset that shaped how she handled past family challenges, staying loyal, believing things could work out, even when it became difficult. Now though, the situation looks much more uneven. Reports suggest she's carrying the weight of it all, trying to keep things together, while her husband is away, sharing snapshots of a completely different life in Florida. The headlines aren't slowing down anytime soon. The columns keep coming, the coverage keeps building, and the pressure keeps rising, and a lot of it isn't even about accountability anymore. It's tied to deeper tensions, internal dynamics, and the way palace politics spill out into the public through the press. That's the reality William and Catherine are dealing with right now, on top of everything else, because it's not just one issue, it's multiple layers hitting at once. You've got the ongoing Andrew situation, the Epstein coverage that refuses to fade, the critical commentary, and the constant balancing act of protecting an institution that's facing pressure from both outside critics and internal strain. And through all of that, they keep showing up. They keep working, staying visible, and continuing their responsibilities without stepping back. It's easy to overlook what that actually means day to day. William isn't just holding a title, he's actively shaping the future direction of the monarchy. He's attending state dinners, handling diplomatic meetings, supporting charities, showing up for military events, and taking part in Commonwealth engagements. These aren't always flashy moments, and they don't always grab headlines, but they are the core of what the role actually requires. That's the real work behind the image, the consistent presence, the routine duties, the responsibility that doesn't pause just because things get complicated. And all of this is happening while he's also managing serious personal and family challenges. A father dealing with health concerns, an uncle surrounded by ongoing controversy, and a brother who is now distant and openly critical from across the ocean. As for Catherine, her role in all of this is just as significant, and is becoming more important than ever. Catherine has also been dealing with her own serious health situation over the past year, and the way she's handled it has not gone unnoticed. She moved through it with real dignity and privacy, keeping things controlled while the outside noise kept growing louder. When she returned to public duties, she did it with calm confidence, and that return made a lot of the earlier speculation look off the mark. She showed up composed, steady, and completely in control, and people around her have taken note of that. She's been present, graceful, and consistent the entire time, carrying herself in a way that reflects exactly what the role demands, even under pressure. Take that Nigerian state dinner portrait people were talking about. Some tried to frame it as something negative, but when you actually look at it, it's simply two individuals doing their job with precision and focus. The formal outfits, the medals, the composed expressions, that's not disconnection, that's discipline. Those are clear signs of people who understand their position and have accepted what comes with it. That's not emptiness, that's control, experience, and professionalism in a role that never really switches off. And despite all of this, the headlines will keep coming. The criticism won't suddenly disappear, and the pressure will keep building from angles that often have more to do with internal tensions than anything else. But here's what stands out. The record speaks for itself. The work is visible, the consistency is there, and the people paying real attention can see what's actually happening beneath the noise. That's the job showing up, staying steady, and delivering no matter what's happening around you, and they are doing exactly that. If you've made it this far, drop a like, hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs to see it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.